So it's all for play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Hi, villains, and welcome to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast. I'm on my own for a moment, but Paddy should be here should be here post haste. And yeah, at least they got it out of the way early this time. My internet drop. Strongly worded letters are going to be sent all around the place there. I hope you couldn't hear me swearing there as well when I was giving out when my whole screen went black. But where was I? This should be one of the more exciting team sheets, I think, of the year. It's one whereby I think we're all looking forward to seeing if one, if not two, certain people are going to be starting in this game. So it should be one of the more exciting games. I know that Aldi Internet. I wish it was Aldi Internet. I'm paying nearly 100 quid a bloody month for my bloody internet, and this is what happens. This is what happens. So, without airing my dirty laundry, without airing my dirty laundry about my internet service provider, let's get talking about Aston Villa, and the under 23s are playing at the moment. Obviously, I presume some of you guys were watching it before you popped on here. But up 1-0, Keenan Davis is just after scoring, and I think it was really interesting to see that team and the team sheet that they put out, because obviously Carney Chukwuemeka was playing for the under 23s today, as was Keenan Davis, and so was Philogene Perez. So it was an interesting one, I think, just to see that, and it gives us an inkling that Carney won't be in the squad, Philogene Perez won't be in the squad, and also I saw that Danny Ings was doing pre-match duties for Sky Sports, so I would imagine he's going to start. I would imagine, if that is the case, and I think I saw something similar from Ashley Priest there. Davis, yeah, as Huka C says there in the comments, Davis has scored so far, and we are 1-0 up for the under 23s at the moment. My good confidant and friend Patrick is with us again, and I haven't changed my background here. But Paddy is with us. Paddy, how's things?
Good, and yourself?
I'm good. I'm just setting the scene that Carney, Jean Perez, and some more won't be actually in the squad. And I think with injuries and stuff like that, and with the injuries coming back, I think that's a good sign, because especially with Jean Perez not being or starting for the 23s today, we won't see him obviously in the squad. So guess what that means? That means the two certain wingers are back in action again, and we should at least expect them on the bench.
And I tell you what, I also read into that is that we will not be starting with those wingers, because if we were starting with those wingers, we would need replacements on the bench, and that's why they're not there. So for me, it'll be revert to type of the 3-5-2 or the 5-3-2, I should say, or whatever it is, and then we will possibly be springing the likes of Bertie and Leon from the bench at a later stage.
Maybe so. And you know what? That's probably the smart thing to do. I know that there will be people out there that will want to see these guys from the start, but it's really about it's about injury management at the moment. Someone I think we could see from the start might be Morgan Sanson, Paddy.
Possibly, but at whose expense?
I probably think that he goes back and I just don't see Emi Buendia has done anything to justify a starting position for Aston Villa so far this year. Not criticizing him, not sticking a knife into him, but I just think like he's done, he's done nowhere near the same amount as Jacob Ramsey.
I agree. So far he hasn't. So it'll more than likely be we'll both be completely wrong and he'll start. But look, I must admit, and I said it during the week when we spoke about this. He really impressed me last week. I thought his work rate was phenomenal. To watch him in the flesh was a joy. He struggled to get into the game, but that's more to do with the way that the game was played, I thought. But you know, I do think that if he's fit enough, he probably should be playing with the ability that he has. But is he going to start tonight? I don't know. I think he might surprise us tonight with a couple of decisions, but I don't think he's going to surprise us with the tactics.
Yeah, maybe not. Let's look at some of the comments there before the team sheet is announced. First of all, Alfie's Reef, thank you very much for that 4-3-3 for Alfie's Reef. And I think really, look, it's 2 months really since since we've changed to the 5-3-2 or the 3-5-2, whichever way you want to look at it. And I think, look, as I've probably said nearly all the time, even at the start of the year, I didn't think that a 3 at the back and a 2 up top system was the way forward for this team. I think going back to 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3 system was probably always the way for this team and for Dean Smith in general. Now, I don't dislike, I want to go on record as well, say I don't dislike the 3-5-2. Certainly don't. I love the fact that we've played it. I love the fact that we've got a plan B, because I've said it numerous times that one of the criticisms of Dean Smith previously has been he plays the same 11 players, he plays the same tactics, he makes like for like substitutions, or he doesn't make any substitutions at all, and he's no plan B. Well, he now is a plan B. He now doesn't play the same 11 players, he doesn't play the same formation, doesn't play the same tactics. I suppose realistically, like if you start off with a list of 5 things that we can criticize for him, we're really only down to 1, I suppose, realistically, considering the injuries that we've had with regards to substitutions. And I don't even think they've been all that bad this year. So it's, but once again, you're only 1 bad substitution away from being criticized for it again. And I actually agree with that as well. Your substitutions need to be perfect all the time. Otherwise, you will be rightfully criticized. So that's not having a go at anybody for criticizing substitutions. There will be some times where we don't agree about somebody saying the substitutions are bad and the substitutions are right, and that's fine. That's just discourse. But I think from a management point of view, you know, if it's universally decided that, you know, that was a bad substitution, you know, then it's up to you to prove that you can do them again, which I think is fair as well. Because
I'm expecting a backlash tonight, but I'm not expecting the system to change. But I reckon there's going to be a very high press. It's going to be a phenomenal amount of work rate put in here tonight, because let's face it, we deserve it as fans. We deserve it.
There's an interesting one here. So Wilson Tron says Sanson to start and then come off later. But you followed it up here with these presses better than Ramsey. Sounds harsh, but we need to get minutes into him. I agree that we need to get minutes into Sanson, and I would actually like to see him. I think that he probably is a replacement for Ramsey to bring him in if Ramsey is flagging. But Ramsey has had one of the best pressure rates outside of the top 6 this season. I thought it was the case from looking at it at the screen. I didn't think he actually had as many pressures as he had, but I saw a really interesting tweet from the other 14 Twitter account today, and Jacob Ramsey was the only Aston Villa player to have, I think he was the only Aston Villa player to have over 20 pressures per 90 minutes, and he had something like 23. So he's, I agree with you. I think that Sanson and Ramsey could dovetail quite nicely in being one and another's understudy or rotational partner if needs be. I think we have the teams in. I would imagine we do. Bear with me there, guys, because
while you're looking to pull it out there, there's no changes. It's exactly the same team that started against Wolves: Martinez, Konza, Tuanzebe, Mings, Cash, Target, Suisse, McGinn, Buendia, Ings, and Watkins. And on the bench,
the bench then is the same, except we've got Bailey in there instead of Jaden for the Jimenez. So we've no Bertie. I'm going to call it, lads. And you know me, I'm very much, you know, glass half full, and I still would be glass half full in this instance here, because I still think we're going to go on and win the game. But I've been a bit underwhelmed in 2 instances there. I don't know, would I be starting to Nzebe after that last 12-15 minutes? It was that bad
Yeah.
against Wolves. It was that bad. And then conversely, we've just spoken about Jacob Ramsey. I think Jacob Ramsey in an away game against Arsenal, I think Jacob Ramsey has to start over Buendia. But that's just me. The Buendia and Ramsey thing for me is it's a pick your poison. It's whichever one you prefer. So I can understand that. But for me, I think there would nearly need to be consequences for the last 15 minutes from Tuanzebe. But maybe I might be a bit harsh in that. And it's not just putting all the blame at his door. But you know.
Well, I read a lot into what he said in his presser yesterday, and he didn't seem to be hitting blame at anybody's door. He seemed to be just saying, you know, we did well, we were 2-0 up, and then we just seemed to bloody fall apart. So for me, that was him saying, okay, we made mistakes, but there was nobody shite throughout the 90 minutes, which is fair enough to say that, you know, while it was a pretty nondescript performance for 80 minutes, we were 2-0 up. So for me, led me to believe that he was going to go exactly the same way. So that's ultimately what he's done.
I'm going to bring up the Arsenal team here as well and see. Let's just see what we're up against.
Mm.
Don't have it behind one of those stupid. Yeah, they do too. God's sake, bane of my life. Other teams in this league are the fucking bane of my life. You know, I want to be able to share it in a graphic, but what I'm reduced to is sharing it on the Twitter screen because it's anyway. Once again, I don't want to be airing my dirty laundry. Right, we've got Ramsdale, Tomiyasu, White, Gabriel, Tavares is in at left back.
Interesting.
We have no Kieran Tierney, which we marked as a very a big bright spot for him. Obviously, everybody knows Kieran Tierney is an absolutely superb left back. But we marked him as pretty much their danger man. But we also said that Saka was likely to be out. Saka starts. And for me, that's bad news because that three behind Lacazette is bloody scary.
Yeah. Well, we just got to hope that Saka isn't a full tilt for one. Smith Rowe, you know, we tried to sign him in the transfer window. He's obviously, Dean Smith had a little giggle when his name was mentioned yesterday. Aubameyang, who has every potential to go and exploit any space that's given, a la Son did against us a few weeks ago. So, it's not easy. I am happy to see them without Kieran Tierney because he's a smashing player. He really is. And
very good.
I'm happy enough to see Tomiyasu still there because I reckon he can be got at. He sits very deep and he plays players on side. So I'd love to see our players get up a little bit tighter to the two centre halves and see if we can catch them on the break because he doesn't seem to have adapted to the game yet. And in a couple of errors I've seen seems to make a game is that he keeps the player on side when they're playing high up the pitch.
Yeah, I agree. I'm just thinking. I'm going to look. It's unlikely to happen. Look, we know what this 3-5-2 looks like, but at times against United, because I couldn't watch the Spurs game back again. I couldn't bring myself to watch the last 15 minutes of the Wolves game again. So what I did was I went back to pastures more greener, and I watched the United game again. And I was actually surprised in the United game, the amount of times that Courtney House actually stood out of the back three, as in kind of was the defender to kind of stand out and go forward a small bit. When they withdrew Ronaldo, because Ronaldo did kind of come back into the number 10 role for whatever reason, Courtney House stood out of defence and he moved upwards. And I'm going to call it, at times he was almost playing in front of, almost playing as a shield of a back two as opposed to a back three. And I'm just wondering in this instance here, if we have a portion of pressure, and if Arsenal go to, and they're unlikely to do this, and I know that they're unlikely to do this, but if Arsenal go into a situation where where we have a portion of pressure and they're in a contain / counter-attack mood, Tuanzebe is and this is me after saying that he probably shouldn't even start. Here's me flip-flopping. Tuanzebe is definitely the right man to step up on somebody like Aubameyang if he's playing in central, or more likely a Smith Rowe. So stepping out into, if we do make it a 4 in attack, stepping out onto these guys if they're going to leave somebody linger up top as well. So, I'm much as I love Courtney House, I don't like him doing that. I wouldn't like him to be in that position. But Tuanzebe does have that engine, does have that athleticism. Would be very, very interesting to see for sure.
I think from our point of view, the 3 most important players we have on the pitch today are 2 wing backs and Douglas Luiz. If Douglas Luiz can marshal Smith Rowe and keep him quiet, it stops that through ball, and that's the way I see it. So if we can get the 2 wide men pinned back and Douglas Luiz can sit on Smith Rowe, I think we'll be okay today. I'm not saying we're going to win. I think we'll just compete, and I'd be happy enough for the draw at this stage.
Yeah, I am.
Don't get me wrong; they're there for the taking. They're definitely there for the taking. But after the last couple of results, I'm just a bit scared. So I'd be happy with a draw.
But saying that, Paddy, there's only one player in this on the team that's been announced there today that actually I fear for. And it could be Dr. Jekyll or Matty Target. That's kind of the way he is, some like he's had 1 or 2 games this year where he's been rock solid 2020 form. But he's also had some days this year where he's had 2019 form as well. And I don't like the fact that they can swap any of those 3 guys around and play in any position. Now, given that, so could United with the 3 that they played. They had Pogba, Bruno Fernandes, and Greenwood. So they were able to do that, and we marshaled them well as well. So maybe he's going to up his game to match the level of talent that he's playing against. But he didn't do it against Spurs, and he didn't do it against Wolves. Well, he wasn't too bad against Wolves, but I think he's going to need to raise it again. And the fact that they could run Saka at him down that wing in one attack, then swap Saka over to the right and bring a fresh Aubameyang over and run at him again, because teams are starting to do that. I saw it in a Europa League game last night. Which one of the 2 was it? It was Bodo Glimt against Roma, and they play a 4-2-3-1. And that's what they did. They were swapping their 2 wingers and running at one side of the Roma defense. And basically, they just knackered a guy in there. Absolutely just ran him into the ground. And then they were able to exploit it. And they ended up winning 6-1. Patrick Berg, by the way, is an absolute gem of a player. We should go. Look, I hate blowing my own trumpet, but 2 years ago, I said we should sign him. And look, I still feel that way. He's an absolute gem of a player. Paddy, let's have a look at, instead of me blowing my own trumpet, let's have a look at some of the comments here and let's see. So I'm just going to come down to. Sorry, guys. The comments are coming in thick and fast. Brilliant. From the John McGinn interview, he said that the Wolves game affected a lot of the players and was still bothering them from this week. Hope they have their heads sorted. Just because he said they were bothering them, to me, isn't a bad point.
No, it's a good point.
I think it's
I should bloody hope they're bothered.
Yeah.
Because all the fans have been bothered all week, and they've been breaking their heads to what went wrong. So I would imagine the players are exactly the same way.
Yeah. Well, do you know what? I understand it. Once again, we're here and we're saying it could go either way. It could go either way with this, so there is going to be a lot of leadership here. I thought we lacked leadership in areas of the field last week. Specifically, I thought we lacked leadership in attack, which for me was like we just didn't get anything going, and I think that's where we've kind of lacked leadership. I think we've got workhorses up there, we've got Chiefs, but we've got Indians, but we don't have any Chiefs, up there. And look, hopefully that changes. And all it needs is somebody to get confidence of scoring goals. And Danny Ings is growing into that leader, but he's new to the club. It's very difficult to take that leadership piece up there as well. So interesting. Mark AV says the Buendia masterclass at the Emirates tonight for the Arsenal TV meltdown later. Do you know what? There could be a lot of thinking in that. The Buendia is going to be up for a game like this, and he will get space in there. And you know what? He could be in there to occupy Lokonga and Partey and get kicked up in the air as well. And win free kicks, because look, that's what.
he has a little bit to prove to Arsenal, because he effectively, if the truth is yet to be told, but he effectively picked us over Arsenal because we were both in for him. So
Yeah.
it'd be an interesting to see how he gets on.
Jack says that clearly he's given them a chance to redeem themselves. Yeah, absolutely. I think that and that goes back to is it bothering some players, is it not bothering other players, and so on, and who has their head straightened out? Because look, let it be known now, if you're a player that is mentally frail, because Villa are going to have some tough battles, whether it be trying to get into the top six, or whether it's going to be trying to better last year's results, or or trying to stave off a run of defeats like we're on at the moment. You want to know who your top guys mentally are as well. So that's a really interesting comment there as well. Yeah, Ed, I think this is worth highlighting as well. I'll be pissed if Wendy has to come off again. I'll be pissed if Wendy has to comes off again. I come on here very, very smiley, and I very rarely kind of get the claws out and start banging the table. I think the last time I really did it, and a real bad side of me came out, was when Southampton beat us like. They absolutely murdered us in 2019, and it was before you even came on the podcast, Paddy. I went on a soliloquy for about 20 minutes of nothing but absolute vitriol, was what it was. I don't even think I left it up on the podcast feed, because I went absolutely apoplectic, and then I realized, yeah, I've tried that now, don't like it. So I think I'll go back to my smiley happy chappy guy again, which is good. It's an interesting one, Danny. What has House done to be dropped ever? Since his first game, he came in and played left back. Whenever he's come in, he's been rock solid.
Yeah, I don't think he had a particularly good game against Spurs, but then again, nobody did. And I think that's probably what he based it off when he dropped him last week. I've no other explanation for it. He's a cracking player. We all love him. We can only go by what's going on the training ground, and trust the process from the management point of view. But and it's horses for courses too. In a back three, when you've got players like that, you're picking your back three to counteract who's going to be attacking them on the other side, from what I can see. So who knows? Nothing for me other than that little stumble against Son when they actually scored. He's not done anything for me.
Matthew Lang says, let's hope we have a plan B for when Bailey comes on. He's not a wing back. Absolutely agreed. And I don't think I personally don't think he came on the wing back position against Everton. I know he played on the left hand side, but I just think he happened to be deep when that ball was played. I just think he happened to be in a deeper position, but I don't think he was ever told to come on and play it as a wing back against Everton. And if he is, he has experience of it. But look, I think we'll all be in agreement with this one and say that we want Leon Bailey further up the field. And I'm on record as saying I think he could be a rotational striker at times in this team too.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we could see. We could potentially, if we're chasing the game, see the likes of Target being sent off and Mings go to taken off, and Mings go to left back to bring Bailey back into some kind of system. So I think the system will probably have to be jinked a little bit. If not, it's either Matt Target or a striker that comes off.
Yeah, I think so, and I absolutely think that as well. Ad says here, we have to pin them back and get pressure on their back four. That can be got it. Yeah, I think we mentioned that previously. I think you can get it, this back four. If anyone has seen it recently, seen today, I posted a video of Wesley scoring against Everton, which is the last Friday night game that we won in, 3-0 win in 2019. And like I said, that some people love bicycle kicks, some people love diving headers, and there the goals. They go, oh, deadly, what a great goal. I am an absolute sucker for a striker making a diagonal run and a ball played down the side of a defender and the striker getting onto it and just passing it into the back of the net from about 12 yards. I absolutely love them, because what it means to me is, like, a bicycle kick, the defense can turn around to each other and go, oh, Jesus, it was a worldie, right, lads? We got to regroup, it's a worldie or whatever. But when you get a goal scored against you like that, it's like, lads, we were carved open. We were nowhere. And same from set pieces. Like sometimes you can concede from a set piece, and yes, it demoralizes the defense and gets them on the back foot. But I think it's probably easier to recover from that. Whereas if you're carved open like that goal that Wesley did when that Gary Mina was on his arse when the ball was played, Wesley comes across, gets the ball and plays it into the corner. I just absolutely loved them because it means that the offense has the upper hand on the defense. So let's see what we have, what our plan is there. Carson White says that Bailey should have a field day versus Tavares versus a tired Tavares as well when he comes on. So it's interesting to me as well, Paddy, and keep me honest in this one, but they have 4 defenders on the bench. They have Holding, Cedric, Maitland-Niles, and Kolasinac. So like they've got 2 right backs and a left back there that they can bring in. And I think probably you would see corresponding moves made there to try and bring in fresh legs. But hey, if they start Kolasinac against and Bailey comes on, they bring on Kolasinac to counteract that. Well, then good luck. But then again, I could imagine we mightn't see Bailey for 12 weeks if Kolasinac gets his hands on him because he's a robust defender at the best of times.
Yeah.
So I don't exactly want to see that either. Where else have we? Sorry there, guys. The comments keep on jumping around. I'm sorry if I'm missing anyone. Interesting, great comment. I think this from Sai. Why don't we ever put a cross in low? Drill one in low once in a while. Change it up. It becomes predictable and easier to defend. I'm going to say I don't know, but I would imagine. And I am a fan of this. I'm a fan of this. Why don't we drill it in low and why don't we change it up? But I would imagine that if you can get a cross in high and you get a defender backpedaling, you're more likely to force a mistake from them. And you're probably less likely to force a mistake from, yes, I know the drilled ones, you can hit off somebody and go into the back of the net. You know, we've seen that happen before. Someone slices
the Spurs game a couple of weeks ago when the ball is drilled across the face of the goal and it's turned in by Matty Target. So yeah, it's a love of mine because when I beat the last defender when I played, I would always drill one in low because you knew you were going to get worst case scenario the ball came back out to the attacking players coming in. Best case scenario the ball's in the back of the net and also you run the risk of earning yourself a corner. So it will be a tactic of mine that I like. Why we don't do it, I don't know. That's the God honest truth. Do our fullbacks get up high enough to play a ball like that at this stage? I'm sure they do. It's more a ball that you use when you're nearly on the break, to get by the last defender and then just drill it across the middle. Not so much you do in a slow patient build up, which is what we're used to at the moment.
Yeah. I'm a sucker as well for that ball played into the corridor of uncertainty too. And that ball into the corridor it's an interesting one because either you have to be your timing has to be really right if you're going to play it high to the back post. Let's say if you're going to play it high to the back post, it has to be perfect because the striker has to come and meet it because that's what it is. It's like you've only got split seconds to get it there. But if you drill the ball in low into the corridor, and certainly keeper can come out, can try and get his hand on it, can punch it, hit off his defender going to the back of the net. Our keeper comes, scrambles, and it turns into a goal mode scramble. So I like that question. I really do. Adam also says, I hope we don't concede first. Can't see this formation being any use when behind. And that's a really interesting piece, Adam, because I don't want us to concede first. Obviously, I prefer us to score first. But I think if you look at our bench, I think Dean Smith understands that. And I think we could see us. I think this is the first time since Everton that we have the capability to really and properly and truly change to a 4-2-3-1 again. Without having to put Watkins on the wing. And we spoke about this in the pre-match, Paddy, that as I say, I'm not going to criticize Dean Smith because last time I did that, my internet went down. Saying that he is not in favour of putting Watkins out in the wing for me, when we had an injury crisis of wingers, I think maybe painted himself into a corner a small bit. But look, as I say, I would play Watkins up top as well. Watkins has proven himself as a striker in the Premier League. So it's apples and oranges that I'm saying a lot of this from hindsight point of view, and I can completely understand why he's put him up top. And I don't disagree with it. I just think that the option was there. And if I was manager, I probably wouldn't have uttered those words. So I'm not criticizing him, I suppose, really. I'm just saying that I would have probably done it a small bit differently. Couple of score predictions coming in there from the guys. I saw one there a moment ago that I can't put my hand on again, and it was 4-0 Arsenal, somebody said, but which is okay too if somebody feels that way. AJ says 3-1 Arsenal. Then we've got Spencer says a 4-0 Villa win to counteract the 4-0 Arsenal win there a moment ago. We've got Kevin Donnelly says 3-1 Villa. Any other score predictions out there, guys? I might have missed them. If I missed them, pop them back in there again. 2-0 win there from Stefan. 3-1 from Daryl. I can't even make out that the bot. 2-1 to Arsenal from this one. Adam is going for 4-1 for a Villa win, so definitely worth, or 4-1 for a Villa win for definitely worth the shot.
Wow,
Paddy, what did we say? What did you say again last night? I think you said the Villa were going to lose 2-1.
I have changed my mind since last night.
And we're fickle, as David O'Leary said, we're fickle fans. We're allowed to do what we like. Exactly.
Well, we can do what we like anyway, but I did a little bit more digging today because I had a bit of time in my hands. And I'm going for a 0-0 draw tonight. I think we'll cancel each other out tonight. I think this is going to be a bore draw. And just wait till we'll say 0-0 after 60 minutes. And if Bailey can get on there, it might change everything.
Jesus, you'll have splinters the size of fucking branches in your arse after that one, Paddy. That's the word.
Put it this way, I don't think we're going to lose the game as I did last night. But okay. I think it will all depend on when we get Bailey onto the pitch and what the mitigating circumstances are around that.
Yeah, I'm a bit more confident. I'm a bit more confident in our ability to change up the game. I'm a bit more confident in the fact that Kieran Tierney isn't playing there. Yeah, I said we'd score 2 goals last night. I think we're still going to score 2 goals, and I'm going to say we're going to win 2-1. I think we concede because I look like their front four are amazing, but I think we'll score 2 goals. And I think I'll come back on here afterwards and I'll go, there's the leadership we were looking for up top. Ollie Watkins grabbed it by the balls and scored 2 goals out of the top drawer, just like he does against Arsenal and against Liverpool and the big teams. He loves playing against Arsenal and Liverpool, Ollie Watkins. So why not? Yeah. You know, why doesn't he do it again?
And he's an Arsenal fan. And I'm rocking the old Emi Martinez today because I think it's a big day for him. He goes back to the Emirates in a full stadium for the first time. So yeah, I'm backing him for a clean sheet today. I think it's going to be a huge game for him, and I think he'll boss it today.
We're and they're giving him a lot of stick on social media. Emi Martinez saying he can't play in front of fans, which is ludicrous. Yeah. So they don't think they made a mistake.
Ask them who's in goal in the full Old Trafford.
Yeah, and who's in goal in the Copa final? You know, who saved penalties in that as well. They don't seem to think that they don't seem to understand that they missed the trick either. You know, and letting him go, which is.
Oh, I think the fans do. Well, they'd much rather have him, but I think they're a little bit enthused with what they're getting from Aaron Ramsdale, and.
They've 2 super goalkeepers. Like
I saw a stat today that he is already, the way we like the way Emi Martinez catches the ball, runs the edge of the box, and then releases someone. He's already done that 26 times in his first 7 or 8 games that he's played. I don't even think he played them all, and that's more than Bernd Leno did it in the whole of last season. So they've already changed their tact on that. So that's something we've got to keep an eye on.
Yeah, and like Leno wasn't exactly a bad footballer or a bad goalkeeper. It was just I think that Arteta wanted somebody a little bit more Guardiola-ish. If that sounds if that doesn't sound patronising to Arteta, I like Arteta. I think he gets a raw deal at Arsenal. I like him. Anyway, guys, I think that's going to do it. We're 26 minutes past 7 on Friday, the 22nd of October. Friday night lights. If you can't do it under the lights on Friday night, then get off the stage, is what we'll say. Villa are going to go out here. I'm predicting a 2-1 win. Paddy's predicting, I don't know what Paddy's predicting.
I'm predicting 0-0. No, just 0-0.
0-0 at 60 minutes or something like that, I think is what Paddy said is going to happen. So,
no, stick with 0-0. I'm going with 0-0.
Before we go, Paddy, Craig Pawson, thumbs up, thumbs down?
Meh.
We'll see.
Probably not a big enough opposition for him to rob us tonight, but we'll see.
Exactly. Thanks everybody so much for watching in, listening in, whatever way that you're consuming our natterings tonight. Really appreciate it. As I say, really appreciate everything you do for the show. And we'll probably be back again maybe tomorrow. I'm making promises that I don't think my arse can cash here at the moment. Maybe tomorrow I might be back with a review of the game. And we'll be back over the weekend. But
we have a whole bank holiday weekend here to play with, Neil. We'll be fine.
Yeah, well, you do.
I'm just hoping it's not a long bank holiday weekend that we're going to be upset for the bank holiday weekend. So I'd like to have a nice start to the bank holiday weekend and a win. As much as I'm not predicting it, I would love it.
Yeah, I would love it if we beat them. The Formula One is on. Anyway, at least that's something to look forward to if we don't win over the weekend, because that's going to be a belter too. But right, lads, thanks so much. Get settled, get your beverages in tow, frost your glasses, whatever you want to do with your rituals. Paddy's already into it. I've got a lovely box of cheese and onion Pringles, and yes, they are the best Pringles. Not sour cream and onion, cheese and onion Pringles downstairs, and I'm going to absolutely murder them. I'd say they'll be gone before kickoff by the time I get down there. So everybody, get your weapon of choice, sit down in front of the match, cheer on Aston Villa, and here's to a win. And I suppose all that's really left to say, guys, is up the Villa.
Up the Villa.